everybody, and it's Thursday, which means it's another Trekker's Delight Picard review, and I'm going to have to tell y'all, everybody's going to have to be super nice. This is my first time driving, and I'm a little terrified. We are going to be covering Picard Season 2, Episode 9, Hide and Seek, and y'all, I got that title right this week. I am currently joined by Danger, who turned out to be right about something that we're going to discuss very shortly. But first, let us roll that beautiful bean footage, as it were.
Yes.
What's up, Trekkies? It's your boy Will Walford here with Trekker's Delight, a Star Trek-inspired podcast. Before we get started, we're going to give away $100, so make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to our channel where we will announce the lucky winner every single week. Now, welcome to Trekker's Delight.
All right.
Hey, what's going on?
Step one, we got the intro.
Nice.
And hi, Jason. It's been ages.
Yeah, it's been a while. I think we've only been on one show together, though.
I think so. Yeah, actually. So welcome to our review show. I think this is actually your first review show, right?
Yeah, I think it will be.
Awesome. So, by tradition, we start with ye old summary. So, Danger.
Ooh. Okay.
I'm tossing that football to you.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I'll do my best to run with it. So in this episode, we saw it picked up right after the last episode where we saw Agnes Jurati and /AKA the Borg Queen convincing Adam Sung to sort of seize the day and ensure his legacy for the future. And at the end of episode 8, we saw them getting a bunch of military commandos at their disposal, who the Borg Queen then immediately infected with nanoprobes or nanites, whatever you want to call them, and Borgified them. And so,
is that a technical term, Borgified?
I think it is. I think it works.
You can go with Borgified.
It is now.
And that what happened then is we saw Picard realize that this was happening and that the Borg Queen's goal was to seize La Sirena and to use sort of get a 400-year head start on Borg technology and use that to begin assimilating, which the century they're in, our century, the 2024, would have no defenses against the Borg. So everybody's headed to La Sirena. And so this episode opens and we pretty much see Rios trying to get himself and the doctor and her son off of the ship before all hell breaks loose. And they get a start on it, but they don't quite make it because then the Borg start popping in. They start beaming in because Jurati has control of the transporter of La Sirena. She's encrypted it and encoded it so that only she can operate it. And she can operate it remotely. So she brings everybody in, and this sort of kicks off the big battle. We see what's his name? The captain, Santiago Cabrera,
Rios.
aka Rios,
Rios.
right? Get him and the doctor out of there. And
Indigo
about
Montoya.
and about that time,
You killed my father. Prepare.
right? And about that time, Picard and Talon and 7 of 9 and Rafi, they all use Talon's, cloudy safe transporter, literally a safe transporter to beam onto Chateau Picard. I don't know why they just didn't beam directly onto the ship. Maybe she
I had those questions too.
Yeah, didn't. Maybe I'm giving them the benefit of that. I'm going to say, Picard couldn't be specific about its exact location or internal configuration, and she didn't want to beam them into a bulkhead.
They are mysterious plot-related reasons.
Yes, right.
Well,
So anyway, they beam into Chateau Picard, and so at this point we see the Borg guys, and we're used to seeing the Borg guys with the red, laser sight eyeball thing coming out of the dark, and here we see the Borg commandos with their green laser sights on their rifles coming out of the dark. So it was kind of a little bit of a tie-in there, I think. But this episode, pretty much mostly the battle for La Sirena is what I call it. And we also see some more flashbacks and a little bit of the reveal as to what really happened to little Jean-Luc and his mother. Kind of
Raise your hand if you were shocked.
What's that? Oh, yeah. No.
Raise your hand if you were shocked by that particular story.
No, I figured, when she was saying, let me out, I'm like, he's going to open the door and she's going to be hanging herself. But then I'm like, well, how could she be saying, let me out if she's hanging herself? But I knew she had to be hanging herself. I just knew that. I just couldn't figure out how we were going to get there. So we got there. So, yeah, it was kind of interesting the way that happened. And that apparently he mentally blocked that particular event from his mind until, he was forced to relive it. And, I think that kind of sums it up in a nutshell.
I think you're missing, the entire Brent Spiner piece.
Well, that's true. So Brent Spiner, Adam Sung, he's also there with the Borg Queen, and he's going after Picard. He wants to prevent Picard from ensuring Rene Picard takes the Europa mission flight, finds the life form which changes the future. So we know from the Borg Queen telling us that if Rene dies and doesn't make that mission, that the whole future changes. It becomes the authoritarian future that we know. But Adam Sung is deified and considered to be the savior of humanity. So, of course, Adam Sung wants that particular version of history to prevail to ensure his legacy. So he's there at Chateau Picard, chasing Picard through the labyrinth, the underground caves that were there from World War II. And of course, being down in there is evoking more of the memories of his mom. So we're getting into that. And I think the most interesting part of the whole episode was towards the end when we see Raffi and 7 of 9 make it onto the ship, and we see Elnor make a return here. It's not real Elnor, it's hologram Elnor. Hey, Roy, welcome.
Hey, Roy.
Roy is just
how you doing?
He sent us a picture of himself.
Right.
Yeah. Well, he was
It's
so
an amazing
petrified by the Borg commandos that he's frozen in fear, maybe.
You guys all got cool backgrounds. I just got nothingness going on.
Right. You're in the void.
Yeah.
You could be in the middle of a transwarp conduit. We wouldn't know.
It's a reflection of what goes on inside my head.
I like it. The darkness.
Nothing.
Yeah. So I guess to sum it up, then Raffi and Elnor and 7 of 9 are battling the Borg Queen and the few soldiers that she has left on La Sirena, and it's kind of an interesting way that 7 of 9 has of disposing of the commando Borgs on La Sirena. which I'm sure we'll get into discuss here in a little bit. But the Borg Queen eventually gets the upper hand and deals a mortal blow to 7 of 9. And Raffi's trying to get to her, but the Borg Queen throws Raffi across the room. And as the Borg Queen comes in with some sort of a dagger to finish 7 of 9 off.
This was a remarkably blade-heavy episode.
Yes.
A lot of blade.
Right, it was.
Yeah, I was like, this is a lot of stabbing for the future.
A lot of stabbing. Well, anytime you've got Elnor in a scene, there's going to be a lot of stabbing.
Yeah, I like how he went through all, went through all the weapons.
He's like phaser pistol, phaser rifle, BFG. Oh, hello.
Right, it was a play on like Pulp Fiction, right?
Pulp Fiction. Yeah, that was a.
But I'm like, okay, out of everything, you're gonna pick the weapon that only reaches 2 feet. But I know it's your style, so go about it, man.
Yeah,
he could have taken a gun also.
I mean, everybody realizes that our Romulan Jedi can only use a sword.
Right.
So anyway, Agnes Jurati sort of makes her appearance there because the Borg Queen, as she's about to kill 7 of 9, she starts crying. And of course, it's not really her crying. It's Agnes as herself crying because she's so sad that 7 of 9 is about to be killed. But that infuses Agnes with power, similar to the way in which the Borg Queen got infused with endorphins when she did bad things like breaking glass or killing people, I suppose. Mm-hmm. And that allowed Jurati to reassert herself. And at that moment, they have this interesting discussion. And Jurati says, you realize you've seen all these timelines. You know that no matter what you do, it's the same conclusion for the Borg every time.
There's always a Borg Slayer.
There's always a Borg Slayer. It results in the death of the Borg.
Yo, I want a t-shirt so badly. Like, I want to be Borg Slayer.
Yeah.
That feels
I bet that handle was snapped up on the internet in a heartbeat.
Right.
Yeah, but that's the interesting turn that they've chosen to take for this nemesis that we've all known as the Borg is to create a platform. It's like, well, what if we? Because in every story, there's always like the enemy that becomes the friend sort of deal. So like, how can you do that with somebody like the Borg who is
right?
Completely
you rebuild them from the ground up. I mean, I gotta say a lot of this, and I guess we're going to jump to the discussion portion of today's show
let's
right now.
Might as well.
This actually, felt very much like Star Trek: The Motion Picture for me. When Deckard and Ilea merge with V'ger to create an entirely new entity, and I feel like that's a little bit of what's going on. Mm-hmm. I gotta say, I'm a little bummed because I feel like we're hemorrhaging series regulars now.
What do you mean by that?
Well, first of all, Elnor died.
Oh yeah,
minor inconsequential, right? And I don't think he's coming back from death anymore. No, I don't, which kind of bums me out. Maybe they're gonna keep Evan Evagora around so that he can be like the combat hologram. I don't know.
Yeah.
So Elnor dies.
Would be cool,
right? So Elnor dies. Now we've got Jurati, who is about to go off and do Borg Queen things, off in the ether, and so that leaves us with we're 2 down, and it was an ensemble cast, but it wasn't like a huge ensemble cast either.
Right. Well, we do know that next season is going to be the last one, so it kind of makes sense that these characters are kind of getting some sort of future path that's separate from La Sirena, because I think they want to stick a fork in the whole La Sirena thing and say, it's done. I think, Rios. I don't know why I keep blanking.
You have a block on this guy today.
I don't know why it is. I've got a block on him. But I think
since you have underutilized this season entirely.
Yeah. I think he's going to go back to being captain of the Stargazer. And I'm going to make a prediction here.
Ooh.
You've heard it here first. I bet that when this whole thing concludes, because we know from season 1 that the Borg wanted to submit an application to join the Federation. Right? Remember that was the whole thing where they said to Picard, this species wants to submit an application, but they want to go through you.
Mhm.
Right.
And then all of a sudden it's the Borg. So
No. You are right. You were right on this one. That is going to be a total recall moment, and it's going to be Girardi.
Yeah, right. And I think.
So you said, I'm sorry, you said season 1. That's what threw me off.
Oh, sorry.
So you mean episode
1.
Yes,
okay.
episode 1. Right. And so my prediction is that the Borg will join the Federation, and that finally 7 of 9 will get to be a captain in the Federation of her own ship.
I'm getting that feeling. I mean, I really am starting to wonder if we're going to see, like, bad lesbian bitches take over. Because I feel very strongly like that's what, Raffi is like, you'd make such a great captain.
Is that a magazine? Is that a magazine?
It should be.
Bad lesbian bitches?
Yes. Now,
I can neither confirm nor deny, Jason. Neither confirm nor deny. And also, I love how Roy is frozen on my screen. He's just like, he's like these children.
My other thought was that maybe Raffi might be her first officer, but I don't know if that would be possible if those two were in a relationship.
Well, you had a thought, yeah?
Yeah, they don't do that a lot in Star Trek.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. How about my prediction?
I'm listening. We're listening.
Last week, I predicted that the Borg Queen would save the day. And I was kind of right, in a way.
She probably will next episode. I mean,
yeah.
Oh no, I think she's effed off into the ether. Like, I really think that's true.
We're not going to see her probably again till close to the end of season 3.
Guys, think so? But we have to wrap up.
Too many.
We have to wrap up who the Borg Queen in the first episode was. We have to figure that part out. But you're saying as far as today's episode, we won't see her again after she left?
No.
I don't think we're going to see her for a while. I think it's
at least
be
not in 2024. I think we might see her in, whatever that year is, and I don't remember because my brain is leaking out of my ears, which is not a good look, I might add. But I think that's when we're going to see her. I think Danger's right, and credit where credit is due. Roy did call that we were going to get some save the day. Now, admittedly,
she didn't save the day. She just didn't ruin it. She decided not to ruin it.
Yeah,
that's true.
Right. She was the cause of the ruined day. So
right.
When she
turned 7 back into a Borg. She turned 7 back into a Borg again.
Yeah.
Yeah. No more.
Well, not fully Borg, but the old 7 of 9 that we know with the implant eye stuff.
The one Harry Kim likes.
Yeah. Right.
Which is also why I think we're not going to see Elnor, because if we're going to the effort of resetting 7, that seems to indicate that we're actually not going to transport these people back into their whatever. And we can't rely on Q to do it because Q is
dying,
powerless,
maybe.
Right. I feel like they have a lot to wrap up in the next episode. I mean, so where's if there's no more Borg Queen, where's the conflict coming from then? Because
the conflict is going to be Adam Sung.
Well, yeah, Sung's still out there, and he's going to do his damnedest to try to kill Renee.
Yeah, no, Adam Sung is for sure going to be, and I also think that one of the big conflicts in the final episode is going to be Renee versus herself.
Right, because she had issues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
Picard's always got issues.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's why he had to go back and deal with Picard's mother's suicide. Please note, anybody who's watching, take care of yourselves. We actually have the suicide hotline number below. So if this discussion troubles you, feel free to call them, and please do.
Yeah,
we want you all to live long and prosper.
We do. Roy,
What?
I don't know what's going on. Roy, I don't know if it's my stream or if it's your stream, but you're really choppy, and it's amazing where it breaks.
Yes.
Because literally all I'm getting is like,
I'm getting one frame every 5 seconds.
right.
Yeah, it's like watching that music video for Vogue.
Right. Are you on
Strike
your are you on your 5600 baud dial up AOL card?
You know, that was the feedback we heard earlier. That was probably his modem.
Right.
He's on the flagship of the Federation, and he's using a 5600 baud modem to talk to the Ferengi.
Right. Hey, I was the man. I had my 5600 baud in college.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It's like, look at me now, people.
That was certainly a status symbol.
I mean, I remember when we got our first computer, and you know, we booted it up for the first time and connected it to the phone line, and then we sat there and waited for the 5 minutes to get onto the internet.
Yeah.
And being like,
Oddly enough, I've had a computer my entire life. Oddly enough, even since I was a kid, since I was like 5 years old, we've always had computers. Several in the house.
Now you're seriously making me feel old now, man.
I'm 47, so
all right.
there you go.
So you guys are older than I am and still making me feel ancient. So that's impressive.
Right. Sorry about
Well
that.
done, Jason. Well done.
Sorry, young lady.
Now I want to know if any of you caught this, like I did. The scene there where we see the Borg Queen in La Serena, and the ship jets off towards the Delta Quadrant. Right, we see the ship fly off in this little streak. That reminded me of a similar scene in Back to the Future where Marty McFly zips off into the sky and the DeLorean leaves a little streak behind.
Yep.
And I thought maybe they're doing a little homage there because this is kind of a time travel episode, and there's a time travel movie. And
I will tell you.
Yeah.
Then next season it's gonna be Elizabeth Shue.
That'd be
Right.
amazing. I am here for that. I am here for that. But for me, it wasn't so much like the DeLorean. Do you remember Back to the Future 3?
Mhm.
Yeah.
The floating train.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Right.
The float.
That was awesome.
That was the floating train for me.
Yeah.
And I gotta say,
I mean, he took a while to do this.
right?
Yeah, he must have been working on that for a while because you saw how old his little boy was when he was back
Right.
from the Wild
Yeah.
West, you know?
Right. Right.
Coincidentally, about Picardo's age.
So here's my question about the Borg Queen. Is she staying in the 24th century?
yeah.
Not 24th century. In
2024 and going forward?
2024 and going forward.
Yeah.
So, but when is the origin of the Borg? Because when you're in TNG, I think they said it was like hundreds or 1,000 years old already, right?
Right.
Like,
Yeah, they've been at this a hot minute. And to answer your question, Jason, I don't think we actually have a canonical date.
Okay.
They're just out there doing their shenanigans and their Borg thing.
Right. I mean, it takes a while to assimilate billions of cultures.
Yes. And I really like the idea actually of what they're going to do. I like the idea that they're going to assimilate people who want to be assimilated.
Yeah.
And so they're going to bring all of that richness and all of those people, because they're not just going to like not pick people up. I mean, on their way to whatever transport corridors exist, because we know that they've got 75 years before they're going to hit the Delta Quadrant.
Right.
Right.
Well, and here's another question.
Also,
Yeah,
was anybody else bothered by the fact that they're seriously effing off with Elnor's body?
Right. Oh, yeah. I guess his body's on there,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and his hologram.
Mm-hmm.
But
Ain't no more Elnor, guys. Unless Q gets his mojo back.
here's my question. If there is a Borg collective in the Delta Quadrant, which presumably there is, because that's where the Borg Queen is headed,
They're just like, no, don't care about
isn't there already a Borg Queen there?
That's what I was trying to get at. Like that's
Yeah,
that's
and
already
how
a
is
presence.
that Borg Queen and the Girardi Borg Queen going to come to terms?
I guess she's gonna have to either start her own board collective, and
So
then
would that make
build an
two?
army, and then fight the other army,
Yeah.
or
Or they're
What's the
literally
Borg
going
Queen?
to we're going to get Q version 2.0,
Yeah.
where they're going to recognize this technology and they're going to recognize the Queen as being Borg. They're going to allow her to enter into the collective. And then as soon as the Girardi Queen, enters into the collective, then all of their new philosophy is going to spread amongst the Borg and Delta Quadrant. And I think we're going to see a massive shift.
Right, but it's
Right.
like, so you got two Borg Queens. So whose philosophy is going to override who?
Well,
That'll
and
be the question.
here's one thing, Jason, I think that might sway the battle a little bit is that Girardi technically has all of the 400-year advanced technology of La Serena to help her with her abilities and her implants and all that kind of stuff. So I think that's going to give her a leg up on any existing Borg Queen.
Plus
And
she has the experience. She has
and
the experience that she
Yeah.
has experience the old Borg Queen already has, plus her new experience.
Right.
Right.
And I'm going to tell you, like, given the option, is be on the worship Queen because she's kind of plotty.
The
Like
what
she's
Queen?
she's a little shaded. Like she's going to find a way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, but if the Girardi Borg Queen niceifies the 21st century Borg Queen, and then that's going to change the whole timeline for the next generation and Voyager and everything.
Right. If she doesn't time travel, I mean
That depends on what Girardi decides to do. Because remember, guys, like Girardi took Federation history. Like she knows that all of these things go on. The Worship Queen also has access to all of Picard's memories, so it's entirely possible that she decides to buy her time, and let all of those things take place in order to protect the timeline.
I suppose that would seem like a lot of work to go through if you're trying to get the Borg to change because that would mean that they'd still have to, for the next, several hundred years, still assimilate thousands of species against their will.
And they have.
I don't think Girardi would do that.
Well, but that's the thing, though. Like they have to. They actually have to make those decisions, and they have to go through that process. Because if they don't, then we get a paradox. Because what they're actually going to do is they're going to undo the sequence of events that leads to the creation of, the creation of Picard as he is now. Not,
Yeah.
You run into the grandfather paradox.
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
Yes.
Right.
And I think nobody, and I certainly, I mean, okay, so I'm not entirely persuaded that the Trek writers are keeping tabs on all of this. I'm really not. But I also don't think they want to have to write themselves into coming up with a solution to the grandfather paradox.
Right.
You don't have to. It's out there, but
because let me tell you,
it's normal to leave
nobody needs an army of angry nerds coming for you.
Right, but time travel, it's always, I mean, that's why it was written like into Janeway's script sometimes, where she just didn't get it. That was like, oh, whatever, this is too much for me.
Right.
The time travel paradoxes happen, and nobody on Earth actually really knows how it would work out, So it just is. You run into problems anytime you time travel at all. You're gonna run into those.
Hand wave.
Right.
Right. I mean, seriously, this is the writer's room equivalent of jazz hands.
Right. What other questions?
How do you think the crew's going to get back to the future?
That was my other question. I was just like, we're not going to be able to slingshot around the sun anymore because, that's not happening.
The ship's gone.
I didn't see a bad enough reaction to the Borg Queen taking the ship. For the people running up, they had no idea what just happened. They just thought, "Right, goddamn, we just lost." But they didn't act like we just lost. They just acted like, "Oh, okay, I guess we're gonna figure out Something else
I
to do.
kind of wonder, I have to say, I kind of wonder if everybody's just kind of in shock and we're not really processing. And then, Picard having had this massive emotional revelation that is devastating, resulting in an actual hug.
Right.
Physical contact, ladies and gentlemen.
Mhm.
And then he's just like, all right, I'm going to flip that switch in my brain, the same one that I had in First Contact. And yes, my friend Emery Butterbaugh actually called me out on one of my articles because I'd flipped First Contact and Generations. My bad, Emery. Anyway, so like he's going to flip that switch. And so that's, it's better to focus on the mission. It's better to focus on the job, and it's better to focus on, this obstacle that we've got to rectify first.
Right.
And then we'll panic about figuring out how we're going to get home.
But I think I kind of agree with Jason in that I think Picard should be more panicked by the fact that the Borg Queen just took off with advanced technology headed to the Delta Quadrant. Because
no, he didn't know she was headed to the Delta Quadrant. All he knew is she took the ship. At first.
But I mean, he's got to assume.
I would have assumed she's going to go blow up the Europa mission.
Yeah, I would have thought at least this was worth an OF at least once.
Right.
Yeah.
And look at me, I'm trying to be good. I'm trying to be good because my kids are in the next room. So
right.
And to what you were saying earlier, Danger.
Yeah.
The whole time I kind of felt like she could have just used the transporter while they're in the house to get to the ship, like to cross the vineyard. She just sent Rios to his name's Rios, by the way. She just sent Rios
Thank you.
to the apartment in the house,
Yeah.
But for some reason couldn't use it. Well, I guess Picard said shut it down.
Yeah. Right.
But,
right.
Yeah, like lock him out so that he has to stay there because his mission. Yo, like it was a shoulder wound. I get that it hurts, but like also.
Right. A TV shoulder wound?
Yes.
It was his arm.
However, can we have a brief moment to talk about how excited I am that this weird romance thing is now over? I hope.
What weird romance?
Him and the doctor? Him and the
Yeah,
doctor?
what was going on there? Why are we doing it? What's the point?
Well, we don't know that it's over.
I think they wanted to tie it to just something. They wanted to anchor them to somebody in the present.
Yeah.
That was the whole deal with that. Like every time they go in the past, they always anchor to somebody in the present in some way. You got Sarah Silverman from TNG. You had the whale lady.
Her name Rain in Voyager. I think that's what it was.
Yeah, Rain. But that also goes to another thing that they didn't do in this series is they didn't overcome any technological obstacles because they were stuck in the past that they're not used to. Like they didn't have to go and really go out of their way to say, well, we don't have this. We got to make one now. Every other time they go in the past, they're always like, damn, if I only had this thing.
We got one more episode, my man. One
more episode. Now, and they don't have the ship now, so
I was about to say the flying closet is gone.
We don't have time for all that though. We got one episode.
They did use the tricorder to tap into that cell phone.
Right. They did tap into the cell phone, but that's what I mean.
But the point is they had the tricorder.
They had the tricorder to do that.
This is not a situation where Spock is having to build a communicator or a locator or whatever he was trying to build in 1940s Earth.
Right.
With, whatever they had.
A mnemonic memory circuit using stone knives and bearskins.
Bearskins.
Thank you. I was trying to come up with a quotation, and my brain is leaking out of my ears. It's been a long week.
Or like Data had to build something.
Yeah, when he was back in the Mark Twain time.
Yeah,
okay.
How to give them stuff.
Yeah,
I am still mad about this. Now, I love that everybody has now brought up Time's Arrow. It's not just me. I'm still mad about this. Guinan has already met Picard.
No, I figured this out. She has not.
That timeline didn't happen because it's a different timeline.
Right. Okay. So the other thing about it is,
except the point of divergence actually takes place well after that.
I hear what you're saying, but the point of the show is that there's no federation; there's a confederation. So without the federation in the future, there's no federation in the future. So without the federation in the future, that episode never happened.
Right. Right. Good point.
to
That
meet
may
Brian.
actually be the best part of the Confederation.
Of not having that episode. It's a decent episode.
It is not. It is not.
I like it.
It's terrible.
But the point is that they haven't met because Picard
Right.
in that future never went back to do it.
Right. That
All
makes
right,
sense.
because he was too busy skinning Gul Dukat, which again, also not the worst outcome.
No. Right.
Right.
The only thing that could have been better is if Kai Wynn's skull was next to him.
Oh God, that would have been great.
Wouldn't it?
Ooh. Everybody's least favorite space Karen is right there. No, that would have been fantastic. I would have been 150% behind that. But, mad props to Louise Fletcher and she's in 13 episodes over the 7-year run of Deep Space Nine, and we all hate her this much because Louise Fletcher is just that good.
There's been a few people. There's been very few people that I've actors that if I saw them in real life, I would hate their gut. Oh God, I can't stand that person. It's their character I don't like. It was her. It was this guy on All My Children, David or something. He used to get involved, mixed up between Ted and Dixie. He used to get on my.
Seriously, I love that we're now Jason is outing himself pretty hard. Yeah, I mean, but seriously, if we're gonna diverge for a little bit, hello, tangents. Where's Marco? We're gonna diverge for a bit. Kai Wynn is such a definitive villain, and again, she's in 13. There she is. She's in 13 episodes, and
that's it.
Yeah, it's something ridiculous, right? I don't know if it's 13 exactly, and I'm sure somebody is going to go ahead and correct me in the comments, which you should do because apparently my fact checking is bad.
Yeah, that's not a lot. That's not a lot of episodes at all.
Yeah, I'm killing it, guys. I'm killing it. And by that I mean I'm not at all. But seriously, it's 2 digits. It's not nearly what So, for example, Marco Limo is in a lot of episodes. Also, Santé, Roy.
Roy, is that orange juice? What is it? What is it, Roy? Hello. What is it?
What's what? This?
Drinking?
Yeah.
It's something from Scotland.
Haggis?
It's go haggis juice. It's
No, it's Lafroy.
I am drinking God's juice.
Something I was introduced to. Something I was introduced to when I was in Scotland last. Lafroig.
Yeah, my husband's a big fan. I'm strictly a bourbon girl. It's too peaty for me. Also, I spent all of my law school career in Kentucky, and it's almost cheaper than water. So there you go.
I'm a rum guy.
So I do have a theory about how they can get home. I mean,
okay, what's that?
I am all ears.
One of her
no idea
friends. Maybe a passing Vulcan ship, or tell them to get a Romulan to take them home or something. I don't know.
Maybe. Or
Well,
maybe
you know what?
Talon has the technology.
If they go down, this would prove me wrong. If they go down and find Data's head in that cave and figure out how to get home that way, that would just prove me wrong.
I'm sorry. Excuse me. Hold on.
Yeah, right.
Data's head. Data's head is there somewhere.
Yeah.
First of all, in
Right.
Star Trek, there's 6,000 ways to time travel.
Yeah.
Right. And we're gonna see something, or they're going to whatever they do is going to save them. Is going to save the Q continuum, and Q's going to get his mojo back. I don't know. I'm not prepared to watch Q. Okay, guys. Just as as an aside.
Right.
Yeah.
What are you thinking about a Star Trek world, if you will, in which Q dies? We lose Q.
But you could always have him
Unthinkable.
back. You can always have him back because he can go through time. So it could be a younger Q that you see later. It doesn't know he's going to die yet.
John Delancey would beg to differ.
Yeah.
Kind of like Doctor Who,
Danger,
Right.
do you have your Doctor Who mug handy?
Yes.
I knew I recognized that.
Like I always
Yeah.
love the thing with Doctor Who and what's his wife's name? Summer, rain, fall, river.
Oh,
River.
River Song.
Yeah, where they were always in different timelines.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, they
that
were
was-
good. They were meeting in different directions.
Yeah.
I am always a big fan of Alex Kingston.
Yeah.
I think she's lovely. But yeah, so I mean, yeah, that's possible. But I mean, we haven't really grappled yet with the weight of having an immortal die.
Right.
No.
Because we only got that introduced in last week's episode, which is going to forever be the episode we don't discuss.
Why is that?
Because it was awful.
Yeah, it's just kind of like a play saver, but you can't have play savers when there's only 10 episodes.
Yes, I have said this.
Right.
I mean, I have written on this over and over and over this season that we've had far too many placeholder episodes. In fact, I would actually argue that we've had 3 in direct succession, ending in Mercy, because I do think Hide and Seek actually had plot significance and has actually driven us forward. But it had to, because next week is the last episode.
Yeah, I disagree. I don't feel like this whole thing with Picard in us for 4 or 5 episodes now, and it's like there's enough trauma with Picard and issues
Right.
with him. I don't need to know that his mother committed. Where's his brother anyway? Like, where's his
Right? We still don't know where Robert is. Robert is apparently in boarding school when all of this happened.
Oh. And so I'm just not really interested in this whole story arc of his mother and him running
I
around
realize
downstairs.
this is about to be Star Trek blasphemy, but we're going to go with it. I really think the Picard himself storyline has been the weakest element of this season because it's not as well developed. They keep telling us, right, over and over and over again, that it's important, that this is significant, and they go into these ridiculously long, overblown speeches, like we had in Hide and Seek, guys. There was a moment where I was just like, "All right, guys, come on,
Right.
nobody talks like this." Sure, but they haven't actually fleshed it out. Let's compare season 2 here with Discovery season 4. Discovery season 4, for whatever you may think of it, had an amazing thematic unity that went through the entire arc. And you knew why each plot line, where it fit in that arc. And it all did.
Yeah.
Right? Because it was all about, and again, and I find it interesting because like that arc was about connection and making connections and navigating the ways we do that, and ostensibly, Picard season 2 is also about that.
Yeah.
But I have yet to see any real manifestation of how that's significant, except in the Jurati Borg Queen storyline.
Yeah.
Not even really significant in that. I mean, kind of.
Well, I mean, it basically, the connection part and that piece ends with Jurati and, like fusing with this Borg Queen so they're never going to be alone. Because, the Borg Queen's loneliness and Jurati's loneliness are best addressed together.
Yeah, those work. Yes. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So that made sense as far as a connection, like as working on this theme, but we got nothing else. I mean, other than like Rios apparently schoolboy crush on Teresa. I
think there was the scene there where Picard is talking to Renee in the space museum there, and he's referencing her pain and what she's going through with her depression, and he can sort of make a connection with her based on the fact that his mother went through that. I think that was kind of an interesting thing there. And I think, it made it much more believable having seen those vignettes of him and his mother in the past, and understanding more of what he went through and what she was going through at the time. I think it made it more believable and more genuine when Picard talked to her about her emotional distress and her feeling of depression. So
I get that, but that could have just been done in one episode. Like at this point, at episode 9, I'm not even remembering that. Till you brought it up.
Yeah, exactly. Like
it's like
we are in episode 9. This is the penultimate episode of the season. We don't have time for this.
Right.
Like,
but I wonder if that's going to come back in the next episode, where he's going to have to talk to her, because the Borg Queen made the cryptic comment about one Renee has to live while the other one dies.
Yo, if this turns out where Renee has to die to her depression, I'm throwing I'm discontinuing my subscription, because I can't.
Well, you can still watch Strange New Worlds. That's coming up.
Yes.
Yeah, but Strange New Worlds is really weird because, Anson Mount went to college, and it's very strange seeing Anson Mount in my primary fandom. Like, there's a little bit of cognitive dissonance there for me.
He went to college with you?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool.
Really?
What's up?
That's cool.
We both went to the same random tiny college on top of a mountain in Tennessee.
Wow.
Interesting.
Very cool. A little connection there.
Right. But it still makes it really weird for me when I'm watching this. Because, I remember X, Y, and Z about Anson, and and now I'm suddenly like, oh, you're Christopher Pike, and I'm gonna have to get your autograph because I'm a collector.
Right.
Well, you should call him and try to get him on the show.
Dude, I haven't talked to this dude in a million years. Like, I would not even I don't even presume that he remembers who I am. Because he was a number of years ahead of me, and the only time I met him was when I was in high school and decidedly up to no good.
Well, who wasn't in high school?
Right.
It was worth knowing.
Right. All these amazing checkered paths.
Right.
But yeah, we've got about 10-ish minutes left. Can we talk about the Soon piece?
Soon? Oh yeah. Well, first of all, some people are like, I've seen some people on the internet like that they don't like how Brent Spiner plays all the Soons. I think that's a great thing that they do, and I look forward to it. Like if they went to 1200, I would love to see a Soong being an alchemist or whatever, played by Brent Spiner.
Played by Brent Spiner.
That would be fine with me. But it is weird to assume that they're always men and that they never really have any kids. Like he still doesn't have any kids,
right?
Biologically,
but yet he lives on for 300 years,
right? So,
there's got to be like an aunt or an uncle somewhere. I also want to know where the eugenics wars are going to fit into the timeline.
I think they probably hint at it at the last episode that he'll have an idea or something.
Yeah.
Just like in Enterprise, they hinted at him doing making an android on the last episode of
right.
Yeah, I don't think that was a hint. I think that was pretty explicit.
Well,
because he's like,
Mm-hmm.
my augments were kind of crap. Let's try to do this whole programming thing. I got time in my cell. I got time.
So do you think that he's gonna see his daughter? We're gonna see his daughter again, or is she gone?
So
I don't know.
She'll probably come back and stop him from something.
Yeah, maybe.
She's the day.
Does she know what he's up to at this point?
Right? Wait, we got to give Roy some space.
No, I said she's going to save the day, right?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, at this point, Roy, are you just like throwing pins at a wall to see who's going to save the day?
No.
He's like, no. I'm like, yeah.
But we
he's like, do not look at my whiteboard behind the screen. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We should say something to the viewers about, next week we're going to do the last Picard, and then we're going to cover.
Mm-hmm. We are.
Strange New Worlds, right?
On Friday, right?
So Thursday, But I was actually going to hold this until the very end. But all right, we're going to jump that
Okay.
in. So
Nope, that's okay.
It's like, go on. You can make your announcement. So yes, next week on Trekkers Delight, we are going to cover, on Thursday, we're going to cover the final episode of Picard because, by God, we've slogged this far. I believe in being a completionist, and also, like, my liver would just not know what to do if we didn't do this. And then on Friday, we are going to cover the first episodes of Strange New Worlds. So stay tuned for that. Watch our Facebook, Twitter, Insta, YouTube feeds, wherever your podcasts are available.
Watch everything.
Yeah, no, watch everything, like, comment, and subscribe, because, like, I am just not above begging at this point. So, like, hey, guys.
Tell your mama, tell your
Where's
friends.
our favorite heckler? He hasn't made an appearance.
He has, actually. Yes. He's been in the comments, right? He has for sure been in the comments.
I haven't even seen these comments.
Yeah, no. Like Marco wished me well on my first experience driving.
There's people in here.
There's people. It's full of stars.
Right. It's Soylent Green is people.
That's like God looking at like one of his little beakers. Like, hey, there's people in here.
right.
Seriously,
it's Danger Ascension slime mold, right? Like, it's in his fridge.
No, Danger was making a 2001 Space Odyssey reference, right?
Yes, right.
He was.
Oh, what would you say?
But we're gonna riff on it, man.
Right.
So last comments.
You'll just have to watch it, Jason.
Today's episode.
Last comments.
Oh yeah, no. So we've talked a little bit. About most everything. Do we really feel the need to cover the Rocky 7 dynamic at this point? Because I feel like that's been beaten to death.
No, it hasn't really evolved more than what it has been.
Yeah. So really, at this point, I think we need to decide where. Like, we've talked a little bit about it, but where really do we think this is going to go? Because again, just thinking about the sheer number of plot lines that we have to resolve, they're telling us now that all we have to do to resolve all of these plot lines now is to address the Europa mission. But I don't think that's true, because we've got to address the Europa mission, we've got to address Sung, we've got to address Q, and I see that they're all kind of funneling together.
And we have to address the future. We have to know what happens in the future.
Right. And then we've got to get everybody back to the appropriate century. And
have them not get killed by the Borg Queen.
And also somehow avoid having Teresa stab Rios for being an asshole.
Right. And we also have to somehow see all of the original crew of the next gen.
Do we think we're going to see that in this next episode? Because
not in the next episode, but I mean in season 3.
To
wrap this all
up.
up.
I really think we're going to get we're going to deal with that next season. I don't think we're going to deal with we got too much crap now.
But I just hope they don't fill it up with nothingness. Like their whole point of going to the maze, the tunnels under the house was just pointless. The only reason why I did that was to bring up their mother. You know what I mean? So I just hope they don't. I hope they fill it with meaningful stuff. Give me meaningful stuff.
I do not need any more Star Trek Gothic, guys. I don't.
Right.
We're good. We got that.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. I love the fact that we brought Gaius Baltar back to be in Star Trek now. And I find it hilarious that we have Gaius Baltar as the father of a character who's a synthetic.
Right.
I find that hilarious, and I think at this point, James Callis is his own Easter egg.
Right. Well, I never liked that plot line anyway of Picard being a synthetic. I thought that was
my husband's like, he's dead. I'm like, he's not. He's a robot, and he's like, no, he's dead. And I'm like, okay.
Life and death on Star Trek is extremely interchangeable at this point. When you think of like what happened with Gray on Voyager, not Voyager,
And Elnor.
you know that show.
Discovery.
Like, yeah, so like they pretty much, I mean, we already knew they solved death with transporters a long time ago. But aside from that, they seem to have solved death pretty easily again.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Well, they
No, I mean,
can't do it with android bodies reliably because
then all of a sudden all of the drama would be lost, and then we'd literally be watching a totally different show. We'd be watching Altered Carbon in the Federation.
Right.
Which, don't get me wrong, I love Altered Carbon. I'm just not like keen on trying to splice that into Star Trek.
Right.
I mean, do we think we're actually going to finish all of these plot lines? I mean, I kind of feel like that's the direction in which we're going. But, what are your thoughts?
Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
go ahead, Jason.
I know I wasn't going to say anything important.
Arguably, none of us have said anything.
Right. I think it's going to go into season 3. I think next episode there's going to be kind of a cliffhanger, and to sort of get everybody excited for, oh my God, what's going to happen? How are they going to resolve this in season 3? And then we're going to see all these little threads merge into a beautiful Star Trek tunic.
So no resolution, like who killed JR?
Right.
Wow. Okay.
Dude, we gotta talk about your obsession with soap operas, man. Like,
I was an 80s kid. In the 80s, you had one TV in the house. None of this TV in every room bullshit.
And your mama was watching her
My
shows.
mom was watching her shows. What do you think?
That's amazing. I mean, I'm literally like clearly I was in a similar situation because I recognize that reference, but
right. I've got one thing to add here, and
is it soap opera related? That's the real question.
Is it what?
Is it soap opera related? Is that the question? Also, I did not do that to Roy. I want everybody to know this. I didn't hear it to Roy.
I think his modem just crapped out.
Just put a picture of him up there. We won't know the difference.
I wanted to save this.
No, it says device is not connected. Let me see what I can do.
I wanted to save this until there were only a few minutes left in the show, because
we got like 3 minutes, man.
I didn't want to get Jason too wound up here. But I want to say at this point that I have been totally amazed with Allison Pill's range in this season. She's gone the gamut there, from being kind of the ditzy, silly kind of, comic relief, to now being the highly dramatic, villain Borg queen. We've seen her sad, happy. We've seen her performing as a singing actress. I think it's very impressive. I think I really like her as an actress, and I've been very impressed with her this season.
Yeah, I mean,
Jason not like her? Like, is that a thing for you? Because she's been amazing.
I never said I didn't like her. When did I say that?
Well, you've implied that, not necessarily Allison Pill, but I think Agnes should be in prison.
Well, I definitely said Agnes. I said that last season. She needs to be in prison. But I said she doesn't.
No, Yumi and Michael actually, like, Yumi and Michael are all about like the imprisoned Agnes Girardi for murder.
Right, and she does have too many like emotional issues. She has a lot of emotional issues, but I guess that's what brings us to where we are today in the show, is her emotional issues. So
I mean, at this point, if you can't make your own neurotransmitters bond with a Borg queen,
right, they probably in each other's head, like, "Where you been all my life?"
Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to seeing what she looks like 400, like after 400 years of this. Like I do, because I think that's going to be an interesting makeup challenge.
But she's got those nanites, right, that constantly regenerate her. So
yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. It's really interesting to see, like what kind of modifications we're going to see, 400 years after 400 years of development. So I'm super stoked about it. I'm super stoked about seeing Allison. Allison's like Borg queen. I'm super stoked to see like the eventual end of the season because I kind of want to cry. Yeah.
Well,
So,
we know there's a substantial change just to the configuration of the Borg ships.
yeah, no, all of a sudden they become, I'm going to be charitable and call them starbursts because that was not what I thought initially.
Right.
It was not.
No.
Yeah. And it's
Starburst is a
We're
very
gonna go with
politically
Starburst,
correct
yeah.
way of
first
describing
because
it.
YouTube's not going to kick us off.
Right.
All right, we are at the thanks, Roy. We are at the hour mark. So, final thoughts, predictions. We're going to start with Jason, go to Roy, and then go up to Danger.
Well, predictions is hard. I'm just looking forward to see what they're gonna do. First of all, how they're gonna get home. I'm looking forward to see when they get back to what the Borg Queen's gonna do when they get back. That's my biggest thing, and I know they're gonna overthrow soon, so that's not a big deal. My biggest thing is seeing what happens when they get back and how they do it at this point. I'm done with Picard's mom. I got that.
Like aces. Yeah. All right, Roy.
Well, I know what I don't see. I'd like them to be in the year 2024 anymore. I'll be back in, their original time and everything's fixed and everybody's living happily ever after or whatever. And the Borg and the Federation are getting along. We're one happy family now. That's what I want to see.
That would be interesting.
Because, it's all about hopefulness.
Danger?
All right. My predictions are as follows. You already know about...
I love that you have a bulleted list for us.
Yeah. You already know about Agnes being the Borg Queen that we saw in episode 1. My next prediction is that we will see 7 of 9 as the captain of her own ship, Captain 7. And if she doesn't stand on the bridge with her foot on a cask looking like Captain Morgan, Seagram 7 or whatever, then I'll be upset. Chris Rios is going to go back to Captain of
Got it! Everybody have a moment? Like, you got it, the name right.
He'll be back on the Stargazer as Captain of the Stargazer. I'm not sure about Raffi. My guess is she'll just go back to Federation Academy. Picard and Laris are going to be a thing. Picard will probably still be whatever Chancellor of Starfleet Academy, but he and Talon will now have a new connection. And we probably won't see any more of Eleanor other than as a hologram. He'll just pop in and please state the nature of the
combat emergency.
Right. Combat emergency. There you go.
The security emergency.
Yeah. There we go.
Right.
There
please state the nature of the lost cause.
Right.
That's amazing.
Of those who chose to die.
Yes. Right. Yeah.
All right, guys. So that is pretty much a wrap for Trucker's Delight's thoughts on Picard Season 2, Episode 9.
Yes.
I'm kind of bummed that we're losing, like, as far as I'm going, I'm kind of bummed that we're losing Elnor. I think Danger's right. I'm looking forward to seeing this future Borg Queen. But yeah, I'm just, at this point, really hoping for a satisfying conclusion to all of the hot mess that we have had to this point. As we mentioned before, next week we are going to have 2 shows. There's going to be the Thursday show, which is our review show for Picard's final episode. And then Friday, stick with us because we're going to hit Strange New Worlds episode 1. Always like, subscribe, comment, let us know what you'd like to see. Reach out, talk to us. We'd love to see you. But now we're going to head out. So live long and prosper, guys.
again, I'm gonna say this again because we're near the end of our show. If you are our allies, we are not talking to you. We are not talking to you. This does not. Pop.
Whoops.
Oh.
Now again, I'm gonna say this again because we're near the end of our show. If you are our allies, we are not talking to you. We are not talking to you. This does not. Pop. Okay, we're not talking to you. Stop trying to take our and make it your goddamn business. It ain't got nothing to do with you. It ain't got nothing to do with you.
Our experience of grief independently.
Bruh.
Yes.
I love that they're in the comments.
So much is like I'm just reading the comments.
Yeah. They should brought their child out. It's such a good point, Will. God, that's such a good point. And he's really thought about it too. You should be here. William, get over here.
I thought he had a girlfriend